This top 10 fantasy football receivers edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Feels a little bit like summer's here.
Yeah,
kind of feels like unofficially, officially, we're on to football officially.
Well, once the NBA Finals end, it's just preseason football leading up to NFL kicking off. College football, we're only as of tape time, or what, about 30 days out from the Hall of Fame game. I think 32 to be exact. The Hall of Fame game is in July, Ryan. So this is the last month without real professional football. So that is something to hang our hats on. Of course, we're doing our top 10 fantasy football list. We just already did tight ends and quarterbacks, fun episodes.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantasy football, Sean, which we won't give our honest opinions about.
I love best ball, and I love talking about football early. And if you're talking about football early, we're going to be doing our team previews. But this is the time to get into hyped into fantasy, some projection stuff. This is the time. Now I'm not into as many managed leagues as I used to be back in the day, because
zero is.
That's the goal for this year. Yes. Best ball is super fun to do. And then my weekly stuff, I like playing the props almost more than than managed leagues. Yeah. Like combing the waiver wire, that kind of stuff. It's not as fun, but it is fun to talk about these receivers, talk about their fantasy expectation, because a lot of it does correlate easily to betting.
Oh, it's the same.
Dare I say higher, lower pick'ems, Ryan, on Underdog Fantasy correlates directly here to our top 10 fantasy footballs.
That would actually be a great idea for our fantasy rankings. We just rank them based on how they do for us in pick'ems.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a different fantasy game.
Yeah. And I guess,
it's not your normal rotisserie or head to head, but I like pick'em format.
And shout out to the chat. Chat is lit. We're here on a Friday afternoon. If you're watching live, we got our VSiN show coming up tonight, 11 o'clock East.
Yes.
Rafa in the chat saying, I'm wet. Appreciate that.
What's he wet about?
That's a good question.
Maybe he's wet about wide receivers. They are the zestiest of the position.
Oh yes. Very, very zesty bunch indeed.
Although tight end U is getting pretty,
they were having some fun. I mean, they did have their own private Taylor Swift concert, but Ryan,
think about the crossover. My God.
Yeah, no, that is certainly, and shout out to J Mark for Old Fashioned Football. Combing the waiver wire is elite fun. Come on, man. At least for me, Ryan, the managed leagues, everyone wants the same waiver wire pickup, and then it's like figuring out your fab budget and that kind of stuff. All that brain power I would just rather put towards gambling, or when you can't gamble specifically on the games that week, best ball, this is the perfect window to rack up a bunch of best ball drafts.
This could be the year that I hire an in-season manager for my FFPC leagues.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You still do a bunch of managed leagues, right? You claim
a bunch.
How many? Yeah, you like FFPC.
It may be down to 2 actually.
How many managed leagues did you do last year?
2, 3.
Okay, so you did our ETH league.
Oh, we did that last year.
Yes.
Okay, we're not doing that this year.
Okay.
That was 1.
Okay.
How many? 3 FFPC leagues.
So 4 leagues.
That sounds right. And
Yeah.
then I am in a league with my college buddies.
Oh, so
which
did you
no,
count
well,
that as a league?
I may have turned on the autopilot feature for one of the fantasy tools, so I didn't actually manage that team.
Okay,
But yeah, it counts. It's too much. Well, that's more of a stay in touch thing. If I leave the league, I'm never going to talk to those people again.
and the chat is feeling it here on a Friday. Joe saying 3 beers in during work hours, not sorry. And
Nice. I wonder what he does for a living.
yeah,
What do you think?
oh, maybe he's a bartender.
That's fairly normal.
Well, but also too, I think a lot of people who had corporate jobs, especially on a Friday, maybe you're working remote. So he's at work hours, but you can still have a couple cocktails. I mean, that was
what do they say? 5 o'clock somewhere.
yeah, that was the dream of working remote, is that you can also be getting pretty lit there, I imagine.
I mean, if you were the kind of person that was trying to get drunk on the job, I mean, at least for me, when I like working in tech,
yeah,
we had kegs in every kitchen, so it was like you had that opportunity in the office as well. In fact, they were trying to give you that opportunity in the office. So you stayed in the office.
Day drinking for me is I like doing it on location, on a vacation.
Nice weather
Where I'm outside all day. Day drinking inside where I had to do stuff, that's annoying, because then day drinking's great, but then you hit that wall where you're like sleepy and tired, which is awesome if you're on vacation. You can just go to bed at like 9 o'clock after been drinking all day. That's great. But then if you actually have to work and do stuff, day drinking not as quite as fun. But there is that sweet spot where like 3 o'clock rolls around, you start day drinking a little bit into happy hour, into going out. There's a sweet spot you can find.
If you're gonna poison your body with one thing, you should at least give it some sun. There is an element of rejuvenation,
vitamin D,
that happens when you're drinking out. Think about it. You got more energy when you're drinking in the sun, barbecue, beach, whatever. Inside in Vegas, watching games all day, you inevitably hit that wall where you're like, God damn it, I need some fresh air or a smoothie.
All right, Ryan, top 10 fantasy football wide receivers. Drum roll. Who is your number 1 fantasy football receiver for 2025?
Well, before I say that,
okay,
I did again, did some work in the sheets.
Ryan will just proudly announce, "Oh, I'm finding some good numbers." And look, I just overlaid this over previous years. Ryan was getting really rock hard.
What
for
I
his
said
spreadsheets.
was I came up with a metric.
Yes,
which
this is cool. I'm listening.
This will work for all positions. So I'm still workshopping it, but receivers was the most I put into it. And it's essentially measuring, it's a performance measurement, but it's really a measurement of like what I was talking about on the tight end episode. How consistently are you putting up points? The narrative in the tight end streets was, well, most tight ends are either going to boom or bust. And so with receiver, especially, you're spending top draft equity on these picks.
Okay.
You want to make sure you're not taking guys who are boom bust. I mean, sure, maybe you're playing best ball, but even then, you'd rather have a guy putting out 20 points every week than a 40 and a 2. Obviously, you don't want the guy who's putting out the super low floor. So created a little inputted some data, outputted a metric or a value, threw it over the data for the last 5 years. Pretty interesting it also kind of shows you and gives you appreciation for some of these ridiculous years, like the Chase year last year. He was off the charts better than any other receiver. You can do that with total points too. But what's crazy is the Cooper Kupp year of 2021 was even more ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that was
again
insane.
You can see with raw points, but even the consistency. And so yeah, created mostly looking to measure consistency and how much you're out there, how much you're not laying eggs, and how much you're putting up points. And then it gives bonuses for like massive games. And so, yeah, my biggest takeaway over historical, Amon-Ra St. Brown, way more consistent than I would have guessed.
Okay. Now easy
in terms of in terms of the elite guys.
Yeah.
Other than the injury that was caused from his dad taunting Kevin Durant's calf, he's been very consistent. Anyway. What was Easy saying?
Oh, Easy, our Lions insider, has been touting the fact that his hot take is that Jameson Williams is going to outscore Amon-Ra in fantasy, and I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to go that high or that hot, but I think there's a realistic world where Jameson Williams eats into the production enough of Amon-Ra to not make Amon-Ra a top 10 fantasy football receiver.
Okay. I mean, I see the angle. Part of the argument against, like, he didn't necessarily live off volume. He only had 141 targets. Very efficient though. 115 catches off of that. But anyway, we will get to him because he's definitely a high up on my list. But number one, same thing I talked about in tight ends. You have to start with targets. Who has the highest target ceiling? And you have a couple guys last season who popped 170. Jamar Chase in a year where T Higgins missed a lot of the year.
Yeah.
175 targets. Amazing year.
Well, and
amazing year. And the other guy missing 2 games on the New York Football Giants, 170 targets.
Now, so you go with Jamar Chase?
He only caught 64% of his passes. Jamar Chase caught 73% of his passes. Jamar Chase 13.4 yards per reception. Malik Nabors only 11. What happened? Well, last year the Giants were a quarterback away. This year they have that quarterback.
Who's the quarterback?
The quarterback's on the team.
Oh, it's a combined quarterback.
The quarterback is.
So it's like when
it's Russell Wilson to start.
Okay.
I mean, if 3 guys pitch a no hitter, it's still a no hitter.
Not really.
It is.
Who do you give the no hitter to then?
It's a team no hitter.
So everyone gets a no hitter on their record?
No.
Oh, okay.
They all participated in a no hitter.
Okay.
So 170 targets while missing 2 games, catching a relatively low percentage
so if you're like
of those balls.
Middle reliever, 2 innings, no hits, you go, I threw a no hitter today.
No, okay. You participated in a no hitter. So you threw in a no hitter.
Got it.
The English language can be very tricky sometimes, Sean.
Okay.
So, and we also expect touchdown regression because, as Tyrone Tracy said recently on a podcast, Daniel Jones was ass.
Really?
I'm quoting.
He's saying
Tyrone
the quiet
Tracy.
part out loud.
I love what he's saying out loud. So it seems pretty obvious to me that the return of T Higgins, who by the way, he graded out very nicely when healthy.
Yeah.
The improvement of that defense, reducing the target load, which by the way, Malik Nabors could reduce his target load and increase his catch efficiency and still end up with more catches. Staying healthy, Malik Nabors ends up wide receiver 1 in 2025.
Ryan, my number 1 receiver. He's coming off a year where he was injured, missed a few games, but if you go to the year previously, 160 targets, 105 which were catchable or which he caught, 6 touchdowns, 1,486 yards. He's going into year 3 as a starter. He's an athletic freak. They play in a dome. It's a very good situation. Give me Puka Nacua as my number 1 fantasy football receiver. Now, you mentioned a bunch of the other guys, and I'm sure we'll get to your Jamar Chase, your Justin Jeffersons. This is a little bit of rolling the dice. I don't mind a little bit of a hot take, but the more I think about it, the more I really like the Puka Nacua situation. And I see what people say about the Devontae Adams coming in. I think the Devontae Adams situation is going to end up helping him almost more than it hurt him. You lose Cooper Kupp, you bring in Devontae Adams. I think people are going to have to spend some attention on Devontae Adams. That's going to create even more favorable matchups for Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua, sure, he missed 6 games because of the injury, but when he was out there, he was still operating on a very high level. He has the opportunity to increase his touchdown efficiency. I would not be.
If you remove the games he missed, he goes to 6th in my metric. I haven't come up with a good name yet. I just called it C-Raw, which sounds a little weird. So we'll come up with something better.
Raw
later.
dog.
But if you take away the games he missed due to injury, he pops up to number 6 on that list. Obviously, very good game to game. Not as he didn't have quite as many of the crazy games, like the 30+ point games, like some of the top dogs. So I think that would be actually the area he has to improve. But from a consistency standpoint, 2 games under 10 points, only 1 game short of 5.
Well, and
so only one, a couple duds. That's solid.
I guess what I would also say is, yeah, this is a little bit of a guess, a little bit of projection, but we've seen it so many times. Year 2, year 3 is when those.
Yeah, no,
year 3 especially, like year 2, you can make a nice leap up, and I think the injury hurt him, and yeah, maybe he has some propensity to injury. He's only been in the league 2 years. We don't know, but that year 2 to year 3 for the top dogs, I think that's where you can really smash. And that for most receivers, year 3 is the beginning of your prime. If you compare him to Justin Jefferson in 2022, that was his career year. 128 receptions, 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns, and that was a massive increase from his 2 previous years, which were also very good. 108 catches, 88 catches his rookie year. So
I worry a little bit about the injuries because part of Puka Nacua is how hard he plays.
Yeah,
and there's an aspect to like, man, you almost not need all the contact.
No, and he's not afraid to initiate contact, which I love as a receiver. Ryan
going 7th or 8th in Underdog overall.
Yeah.
So
good.
Wide receiver 4 on Underdog.
Okay. Yeah. And I think I need more Puka Nacua. Speaking of Underdog, of course, head over to Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code SGPN. Get you a sweet deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus cash. I was doing the math right. This is why America is a great country, because Underdog is going to crown multiple fantasy football millionaires in the same contest. Show me another country where you can become a millionaire just for drafting a fantasy football team. Are you kidding me? And look at that. If you max out the deposit bonus, $1,000 in bonus cash, that turns into 40 bullets to win your millions. So it's, and the drafts are just super fun. Again, you draft, you set it, you forget it. You don't have to deal with anything once the team's drafted. It's very fun. End of the season, seeing all your teams, who's advancing, how close, what kind of teams. It's great. I love doing the live drafts. Really looking forward to drafting a bunch more times here in the summer. Draft along with us when we do our live drafts, and of course, use the promo code SGPN. Get started today. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Circa and their ultimate fantasy football giveaway. If you're doing a live draft, you got to be doing it at the Circa Stadium Swim. It is a great place to have a live draft. It's a great place to just hang out with your buddies. If you're just watching games, whatever. Stadium Swim Circa. It is awesome. If you haven't been out there yet, you cannot say ball. Ryan, do we have a graphic with showing off the great Stadium Swim?
We do.
Look at that thing. It's great. And you get a and they're doing a contest that you can win. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. It ends at the end of the month. So get in over there. $5,000 bar tab you can win. You and 11 of your buddies, a 2-night stay. You get the cabana. The cabana is awesome. We use that cabana for our rhythm party, Ryan, which we invited the listeners out to watch the March Madness, one of the playing games. That was electric. It's a great hang.
We got a good ending.
We got a great ending. Great sweat. And all the sweats are great there over at Stadium Swim. Enter today for free. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA.
All right. Boom. All right. So you're going Puka. Right?
Yep.
It's the
hottest take I could come up with, that I was still on board with, that I believed. And yeah, it's the year 3 thing is what really ended up pushing me over the edge. I was hemming and hawing, and it is, it's always that, hey, what they do last year, what we can project them to do, how much are you weighing the quarterback? Because the quarterback impacts it, but some of these guys obviously can outperform poor quarterback performances. My number 2, I'm going Jamar Chase. Now, obviously, he set a career high by like a decent margin: 127 catches, 1,708 receiving yards, 17 touchdowns. I don't think he's
hit
going to
the ceiling on everything. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and to your point, Ryan, as you mentioned earlier, T Higgins was out, and that's why his numbers got like just stupid and kind of off the chart. So I don't expect him to be that high, But still, how are you doubting in a full point PPR this Bengals offense, this Bengals passing game? We were talking about in the quarterback thing. I know you're high on Chase Brown as a running back, and I get it. If you want to be all in on the Bengals, sure. But to me, it's still going to be a lot of Joey B to Jamar Chase. It's just unguardable, and he's an electric receiver. So hard to not have him. If you don't have him in your top 5, it's tough to take your list serious, I think. So 127 catches, 1,708 yards last year, 17 touchdowns. I think he runs it back. I think he's going to be right up there. I don't think he's going to do what he did last year. That's why I have him 2, but still should have an awesome year.
I think he almost certainly, yeah. Number 2.
What are you doing, Ryan?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. Okay. And I'll jump ahead because Justin Jefferson's my 3.
Okay.
And I was debating, I was switching back and forth right up until
it's very
kickoff
very
here, 2 and 3 with Chase and Jefferson. But why don't you start? Why are we high on Justin Jefferson?
Well, he's one of the guys that if you look at if you just compare his historical, and let me pull it up real quick. It's just the consistency is there, and so you can make the claim like, oh well, and I'm not totally against your JJ McCarthy might not be worthy of bringing them to a Super Bowl, but the more that I've thought about it, the more that it's realistic to think that he can perform like Sam Darnold, or at least near Sam Darnold, and I've gotten much lower on the Seahawks through this process because I think I do think we've seen enough quarterbacks go to Minnesota and look incredible. I mean, Nick Mullins, the Pastronaut, Sam Darnold, like these are all bad quarterbacks.
Yeah. I think the way I'm looking at it is, I don't know if the Vikings are QB proof, but I think in a fantasy sense, Jefferson is QB proof. Does that make sense? Like I think having a rookie quarterback could impact their wins and how far they go in the playoffs if they are to reach the playoffs. But I still think, to your point, Justin Jefferson has got it done with subpar quarterbacks. So that's why I have him at 3. Slight downgrade from Jamar Chase because Jamar Chase is dealing with Joe Burrow, but the case for Justin Jefferson, he had some issues with the touchdown stuff, seemed to figure that out. He's got some competition with Jordan Addison. Yeah. The only knock for me is the rookie quarterback angle.
Yeah, just he's done it with bad quarterback play. The other thing is, with the exception of 2023, he's been very healthy.
Yeah.
And then again, you look at the way that he puts down, he does not put out duds. And so, he didn't have a ton of massive games last year either, which kind of feels like something that can change. But even in a year that felt like a down year for him, he still ended up as the number 2 guy. So I'm leaving him number 2 for me this year.
Kramer, what about your 3? Jefferson is my 3, and I'm
Chase.
Okay, so you're just switched on Jamar.
There's the problem with putting Chase too low. Is you're never going to draft him, and I do want to draft him because I want to draft Burrow. I want to be on this Bengals team, but also, even if he regresses from last year because of T. Higgins, he still had so many massive games because when it was go time, even with T. Higgins, we know it's going to Chase, and he's still going to have some of those spike weeks too. So,
and just think of those Ravens games, those insane monster performances. You want to talk about just, I don't know. I feel like there's been a number of, didn't he have a couple, I feel like he had a 200-yard game last year.
And listen to who they play in the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, 264 yards against the Ravens.
So they play the Ravens at home.
Yeah.
Then they go to Miami and play in good weather against the Dolphins. That could be a shootout. And then they play the Cardinals, granted in Cincinnati. So there are definitely some high scoring affairs in their playoff future.
193 yards, 2 touchdowns when they had the Ravens at home, and then on the road, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. Look at that production just between a division rival with the supposedly very good defense.
Matchup. It's
funny because the AFC North is always a grinded out, ugly, division historically, and what we've bet on them. You always take the dog, you get the 3 points. But for whatever reason, that Ravens Bengals game turns into crazy shootouts.
The two highest scoring divisions, bold prediction, will be the AFC and NFC North this year. It seems like both divisions are just set to explode.
I mean, 3 touchdown game is
all right.
insane.
So we're mostly the same. Who do you have it for?
This is going to be a surprise, perhaps to you, Ryan. But give me Lad McConkey.
Whoa,
rookie receiver.
I didn't even look at my numbers with him.
82 catches, 7 touchdowns, 1,149 yards. Some film guys rated him as like the best rookie receiver. If you look at like his advanced stuff with some of the routes, I think he doesn't have much competition. They play in a dome. I just imagine, and this is full point PPR. Like he is just going to get you a ton of catches. He's good after the catch. Like I think the sky's the limit for year 2 for Lad McConkey.
So his he had a nice yard per reception, and to your point, he also caught an insanely high percentage of his targets.
Yeah.
So
390 yards after the catch. That's pretty awesome.
There's
for a
not a ton I can say here, other than when I look at my my new unnamed metric, he just doesn't have those. He has very few of the boom games.
Yeah. Now I think some of that I expect to come to him in year 2.
He also had 5 games less than 10 points. I understand some of that was him being a rookie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if he can establish himself as the kind of guy that's going to eat targets. Now,
I mean, look at what he did. Look at what he did in that playoff game. 9 for 197. A rookie popping like that in a playoff game for fantasy, to me, that's like something I'm going to look at going forward. And to your point, Ryan, like, yeah, he started off kind of mid. He had his first 100-yard game week 7, but then after that, he had a couple more 100-yard gains, 197 in the playoffs. The majority of his, touchdowns came after that. So
finished 12th overall, but or tied for 12th overall, but 19th in points per game. So
yeah, maybe I'm a little high on Lad, but I expect him to have a very good year. And
honestly, the thing that would be holding,
like, look at the other receivers he's competing against.
The thing that he would be I would be holding myself back from drafting him. I guess I'm not really drafting him a ton because he's a 2nd round pick. But if you like him as your 4th guy, I guess it's easy. Now, how many? What's his target ceiling? That's part of this too. Is the offense going to produce enough targets? He had 112 last year.
Yeah.
Can he get to 150 probably is the healthy, like you need these many to get to that ranking.
Yeah. Why not?
That's a lot of targets.
Yeah. But who else are they throwing it to? I realize, you could counter by saying, oh, they're going to run less, but why would they run less? They have Justin Herbert, which I've been told is like the greatest quarterback of all time.
Is this a troll job?
No.
Is that what this is?
No, I think I legitimately think
wasn't paying attention.
Lad is going to have a good game, and he missed a game too in the regular season. But I mean, you look at basically from week 6, week 7, where things kind of click for him. He's got some double-digit targets there. So yeah, he is their offense. They're going to run the ball and throw it to Lad McConkey.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a massive. It seems a little spicy to put him ahead of Nabors, considering they both were rookies last year. Had very
film guys said the Underdog film guys had said that Lad had a better year than Malik Nabors.
Okay, I mean, I guess if you're you're going off some other dude's fucking grades.
No, I test. I liked what I saw in Lad McConkey.
I test Lad McConkey and Malik Nabors are slightly different. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Eye test. My eye test. Number 4. So it does seem like there's a lot of, we are probably going to consistently leave one guy out, but it seems like there's a decent amount of consensus towards the top of the rankings. But like I said, I found, and this is where I kind of got into a little bit of a debate with myself, and I ended up going Puka Nacua because he does have a tremendous ceiling, and I think even if he misses a game or two, the amount of points he's going to garner, and part of this was like looking back at like peak Cooper Kupp. You know, you see the crescendo of Cooper Kupp, and you wonder if Puka Nacua is ahead of that curve and could end up having a really nice year. I also think, like I was getting to, the floor of when he's playing, he's going to give you points. He's another guy that he didn't exactly put out a ton of flat spots. And most of the time, if he was giving you a goose egg, it was because he was hurt. So yeah, I think going all the way to the top is steep just because Devontae Adams is there. Maybe I'm still a Devontae Adams honk, but I think you have to. When's he getting drafted? He's getting drafted in the back after the first round, so that's about right. That's about where I got him.
Puka Nacua number 4 there for Kramer. Number 5 for me, the dog himself, AJ Brown. Kramer, he had 7 touchdowns last year, and that was regular season, only in 13 games. Elite mental game. Even in 13 games, he still got to 1,000+ passing yards, or sorry, 1,000+ receiving yards.
He had no like massive games last year. Tracking. I have him down for 0 game. I see that he has a 25-point game. I realize I'm doing greater than 25 points. So
okay.
But still, I mean, again, comparing him to the big dogs, one of the things you notice from the big dogs is the ability to hit 30, 35, 40 points. But
well, and you look at
he does grade out well with my metric because he only had 2 quote dud games. He had 0 games under 5, and he hit 5 games north of 20 points. So
he's good for a touchdown almost feels like every other game, every game. He's had that streak going of like 700-yard receiving games. I think it was in 2023 or 2022. I'm blanking, but he's the number 1 alpha in Philadelphia. I do think the Eagles will be throwing a little bit more this season, and AJ Brown is a really tough guy to guard. And then you also get those boom plays, the fly routes down the sideline that Hurts loves dropping in the bucket there for AJ Brown that are seemingly unguardable. And then he is if they get in a good rhythm, he can be a possession guy. So there's a lot of ways he can rack up some points. AJ Brown and extreme mental clarity. He's a guy who's always working on his mental game on and off the field and is just 100% locked in, right?
Oh, it's important to point that out. And he can read.
Yes.
Okay. He graded out 8th last year in my metric.
Okay.
Despite of missing some time.
So 5th doesn't sound that homery of a take.
Yeah. Unclear how predictive my metric is, but
okay.
Again, it's more about like how many times are you killing the team when you're getting started, and how many times are you winning the game single-handedly with a massive 30+ point game.
Yeah, I mean, look,
that's basically the criteria.
I don't think he's gonna kill you that many times in a season.
No, he wasn't horrible. Now I will say I did make some adjustments, and one of the criteria I removed really helped him. And it's kind of like mid game. He had a stretch in the season last year where he had 13, 5, 15, 11, 22, 11, 8. A number of those are you're probably disappointed if you took AJ Brown in the first round. Now he's not going in the first round this year.
Yeah.
And I think that also makes him a little, he's going, instead of being like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 last year, he's going 16. Makes a little bit more sense to me. But with your rankings, it sounds like you're drafting McConkey over AJ Brown.
Yeah, maybe. Because I think Lad's
bit of a pretzel.
Well, Lad's target competition. There is no Devonta Smith on the Los Angeles Chargers. There is no Saquon Barkley. There is no Dallas Goedert.
Right, let's play that game.
That's like just their entire Lad to me is the only proven weapon on their team.
Can you name 2 other pass catchers on the Chargers?
Well, just Trey Harris, because that's who Easy keeps mentioning in the chat, the rookie there. And they brought Mike Williams back. Will Dissly's on the team. I mean, Will Dissly's a
Tyler Conklin.
Yeah.
Arondé Gadsden.
Jalen Rager's still on the team. I mean, Will Dissly's a fun first touchdown guy. I don't know if he's a guy you can trust to carry a passing game.
They have DJU and Trey Lance on the roster. I mean, this is an amazing team. By the way, Harbaugh is currently carrying. I mean, according to our lads, currently carrying 7 tight ends on the roster. Oh man,
no, and again,
that's the case against it.
I love AJ Brown. 101. AJ Brown is 100% way better than Lad McConkey, but the Chargers don't have anyone else to throw to.
Yes.
The Eagles do have other guys competing for catches, touchdowns.
Yes.
So that's why I have AJ Brown at 5. Kramer, what do you have at 5?
5 is Amon-Ra. I'm not buying.
Okay.
Very consistent year over year. You can tell me the offense is going to change a little bit. I think Amon-Ra is still the guy. And I also don't buy the Jamison Williams is gonna. I did some digging. I think this is classic offseason coaches saying nice things about JMO because they need to motivate him because he's not a player that's a dog like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sun God doesn't need the coaches to call him out in the spring or say like, oh, JMO is really going to be a big he's going to be a big part of the offense this year. Attaboy, you got this, JMO. Jamison Williams, we all really like him so much. Does seem like he's a bit sensitive. So Amon-Ra, although I will say I'm not drafting him a ton.
And Jake Ryan, this is shout out to the merch guy Jake, and this is something we're gonna make a note of when we do our team previews to highlight some guys we're gonna be looking to play in the first touchdown market. Going back to the Chargers, Arondé Gadsden II as a possible first touchdown guy. That could be fun.
Do we give out a first touchdown like my Valentine for each team?
Well, instead of on The Bachelor, they give out the rose. Maybe we have the briefcase or something that we deliver to the guy that we can entrust to get it done for us. I don't know if the audience has a good name for a first TD, Mr. First Touchdown.
I want to have 3. I can't wait to do the first touchdown spotlight.
Yeah, Mr. FTD, I think is that sounds pretty fun. Who is the Mr. FTD?
Mr. FTD.
And we'll reveal someone we're going to be on for first touchdowns.
It's like fuck, marry, kill. FTD.
My number 6, New York Giant, Malik Nabors.
Wow.
109 receptions, 7 touchdowns.
It's impossible to rank him low.
Yeah.
He did this.
Fine.
He did this with a slew of quarterbacks last year that are not fit for duty.
And we think they're going to be an upgrade this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's even hard for you to try to make that case.
Yeah. And he's had
Drew Lock.
He's had some issues health wise, I think is possibly why he didn't crack my top 5 there. No, he's had some, he's a guy who's already on the soft tissue list. He had a concussion, went to a concert while in the concussion protocol, which I didn't know was part of the concussion protocol.
Oh, he was
throwing money at
paid for the ticket.
Yeah.
So he already paid for the ticket and for all the singles.
I'm a little worried about the locker room.
Stop it.
Chemistry.
At least he's not trying to read.
Okay.
I don't need him learning how to read. Just run routes, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's the case for Malik Nabors. Doesn't need to learn how to read.
What's he got to read? It's routes, bro. Just route him up.
You're not a little worried about the locker room with Malik Nabors and Russell Wilson?
Nice try. Jameis Winston is there.
Yeah.
Leader Russell Wilson is there.
Okay.
Honorary Italian Jackson Dart is there. Tyrone Tracy dropped a number of amazing nuggets recently.
What did for those not following?
Oh, he just basically said Jackson Dart's pretty cool. He's like an Italian, but he's not Italian. He's got a lot of confidence. I do like how black dudes respect Italians.
Well, Jameis did describe the locker room by saying the white boys here are a little seasoned.
Yeah. I mean, again, he knows. Jameis is honest, you know. He's going to tell you. He's going to tell you how to say. All right, number 6.
Okay.
Number 6.
Yes. Number 6 for you. That Nabors was my 6. Who's your 6, Ryan?
Twice in a row. I wrote the wrong number down. All right. Number 6 for me. Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas, he had some early struggles, and kind of like you're saying about Lad, things started to click.
Yeah.
The difference here, and the reason I have him above Lad is, and we love the second year receiver. He had the explosive games down the stretch. He had the big 32 point 20.
Well, and to hop in here, the Brian Thomas Jr. projection, I think, if you're being honest, is pretty tough because the Travis Hunter thing could go any way. Like,
oh no, I disagree. They got rid of Christian Kirk. I think Travis Hunter maybe eats up. They got rid of Evan Ingram. I think the targets are there to be replaced.
Okay.
I don't actually think it impacts. I think it helps him. I think having a guy who garners attention only helps Brian Thomas. And like I said, I'm finding myself. I was joking on the group text that me and CJ are really jagging off lately with all this Jacksonville love. But man, yeah, I mean, Brian Thomas, Malik Nabors, both looking. I mean, the whole rookie crop. There are some very good receivers going into their second year, and Brian Thomas. I mean, where is he getting drafted right now on Underdog? He's gotten
a lot of hype.
He's all the way up to the beginning of the second round. So, yeah. Would I love a team that has Nabors, Thomas to start? Absolutely. Lad, Thomas to start? Absolutely. Maybe not Lad. We'll see. 7.
My number 7, Ryan, up in Seattle, JSN. Oh. This one's interesting too because you have coming off a very good season, kind of breakout type season for JSN. 100 catches, 6 touchdowns.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but you also don't have to compete with DK Metcalf. Yeah. You bring in Cooper Kupp, who I think JSN is set up to be the number 1.
I don't have a read on what Cooper Kupp's going to be in that offense yet. Cause I'm a little worried because it seems like he's becoming bros with Sam Darnold. Like I'm a little worried there's going to be a bro down. Like Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp are vacationing already,
yeah. Well, and that's what you saw.
They were doing some off family thing together.
Well, and Cooper Kupp did a good job of becoming buddy with Stafford in that 2021 year, Ryan. If you recall, they said, "Hey, they're having breakfast together and they're locking in." And
it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
So
that's what worried me.
But again, like Sam Darnold outdoors, Sam Darnold in this offense, man, I'm not super high on the Seahawks, but again, JSN is a pretty damn good athlete, pretty damn good receiver. I think he will be the number 1. I think Cooper Kupp's going to be interesting. So I got him at 7.
Crescendoed nicely. He didn't make my top 10 because I am a little worried about the quarterback. I am a little worried about the Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is like he's sliding in hard on Sam Darnold.
Well, and
he's trying to lock that bitch down.
And he did look a little washed. I think the fact that his buddy Matt Stafford wasn't throwing to him in the second half of the season, you're right. Like he wasn't earning targets from Matt Stafford. That should be a red flag.
Very fair point.
If you told me there was one salty dog, old crafty veteran who goes back to the Pacific Northwest, gets back in the weight room, gets back to training, is 100% healthy and has one last run, Cooper Kupp does fit that profile nicely.
I mean, he wore ankle weights to school.
I mean, Cooper Kupp
faster.
Cooper Kupp is a guy I want to have some shares of in best ball. But the problem is, do I want Sam Darnold?
There's a number of bad quarterbacks tied to good receivers. All right, next up.
Yes.
I love the year 2 receivers. And I too, not as high as you, but give me Lad McConkey. Essentially I'm looking at Lad versus AJ Brown here. So that's my 7-8 if you want to just pencil in 7 and 8. But Lad McConkey,
you have Lad at 7.
Lad 7, AJ Brown at 8. The reason for Lad McConkey behind the guys he's behind is I'm just and it's probably just because his name's Lad and he's a white guy, but I'm a little. Yep. It's just the other guys are a little bit. Hey. It's like that. Jordy Nelson.
I mean, you did just say you think Cooper Flagg is going to be a bust.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Sean. You watch that. I mean, I get it. He's the same age as LeBron. He went to Duke as a senior in high school and dominated college basketball.
I guess
get that.
It depends on your definition of bust. He's gotten so much hype. Is he going to completely live up to the hype? Maybe not. But bust in my mind means bad. Like not.
All right. So here's what I think there's a low chance that Cooper Flagg is a complete bust in the NBA.
Okay.
Like Zion or something like that. I think there's I just can't see him as like the guy in the NBA. I like the both of those things.
Face of the league,
I
Ryan.
cannot see Cooper.
It's a summer. We got to have it. Who's the new face of the league?
I mean, look, he went to I watched him as a 16-year-old playing against fucking grown ass men at the park. I watched him in college as a senior in high school. Fucking dumb. I get it.
Yeah, he finished high school early.
I get it. That's it. It's incredibly impressive. I can't see him being the best player in the NBA.
Okay.
That's
fair.
That's my own. I mean, he's no Joker. That's a peak male fit. So,
but no one thought of that as Joker when he got drafted.
of course not.
But Ryan, I know you want to crowbar NBA talk in, but please,
no,
go ahead.
I'm trying not to, and you keep bringing it. Lad is a white guy named Lad McConkey. Loved his dad.
It is tough to say like I won my fantasy league because of Lad.
But to your point, it also, one of the things you'll get if you listen to the coaches out in Los Angeles is like they feel they need to get McConkey the ball like you'd want to get a running back the ball. And so they're definitely going to be looking to get him the ball in both down the field and lower leverage spots around the line of scrimmage. So if you know this guy is going to be part of the game plan, you saw what he did last year. He checks the year 2 wide receiver box, and he's got a top 5, top 10 quarterback throwing him the ball. No, I was putting the ball on the tee for you to bash Justin Herbert a little bit.
Oh, I mean, Justin Herbert's a good fantasy quarterback.
He's not. He's not being drafted like one this year.
Yeah, maybe not because he doesn't have rushing yards. I guess he's decent at delivering passes in the regular season. I had been going head to head with these Chargers.
16th after Drake May, Jared Goff, Dak.
Well, Drake May has some rushing upside.
Yeah, but 16th is pretty distant.
And I think Herbert is going to run more than people think. I think he's an interesting quarterback to take in fantasy football. I got into an argument with these fantasy nerds and Chargers fans.
Oh boy.
There was a poll question that said, who would you rather start your franchise with, Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert? To me,
that's easy.
Okay. Well, no, Ryan, all trolling, joking aside, honestly answer. What would you rather do?
Like, is the question like at the start, they're both at the start of their career or they're both at this point in their career?
Okay. I interpreted the question as you're starting a new franchise this season.
Yeah.
You have a choice between drafting Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts to start your franchise.
It's tough.
Is it?
I mean, I think if you're committing to a certain style of play, if you take Jalen Hurts, I could see why you'd want to take him first. I think Jalen Hurts is more dependent on his teammates than Justin Herbert. Like Justin Herbert will measure out and look like an NFL quarterback more. So he probably has more versatility in the types of offenses. So depending on the type of team that you're going to run.
But
I might look to get a guy who has a little bit more passing diversity. So I might.
So you would take Herbert?
Probably not, but it's a pretty close conversation.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm insanely biased, but to me,
I don't know if I want to pigeonholed into like a team that has to run the rock and have an elite offensive line.
Okay.
Elite defense.
I mean, I think what I've seen out of Jalen Hurts, his ability as a gamer, his ability to bring positive culture, winning attitude to a team, what he's done in big games, and his lack of turning the ball over. Sorry. I mean, we've seen Justin Herbert twice in the playoffs. One game, they had a 27-0 lead that they lost. He was gifted 4 interceptions from his defense, and they didn't win that game. The other playoff game, he went in and threw 4 interceptions against the Texans. That is not dog mentality. That is not someone I want to build my franchise around. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Is he prettier? Does he throw maybe a better ball? Can you do more gadgets? Sure, but I would rather a guy. I think there is something to winning. I'm one of those old school guys that likes winning football games. So for me, that's important. And I think that's what you get with Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert. And we've had a decent sample size of their careers. And it's easy to make excuses for Justin Herbert, but come on.
So yeah, Lad is ahead of AJ Brown.
Okay.
The reason, and the last thing I'll say about Lad is in that rookie season where, again, year 1 to year 2, we like that jump. He was already finished 12th overall. So, I mean, not that far fetched for him to be a top 10 guy. AJ Brown, like I said, he did pretty well in my metric. Also, you know, he didn't really have like as much as you remember him for explosive plays. I was surprised to see how few explosive games he had last year. He had, like I said, he had no 30-point games, no 40-point games, 125-point game, and he had a number of 20-point games. But there's room for that to improve too, because like you said, I mean, with the workload that Barkley had last year, we can expect him not to have the same amount of workload this year. And I also think there's a chance that maybe their defense takes a step back. They're not able to get up and strangle games as much. They're running more plays. There's a number of reasons why you can talk yourself into AJ Brown having a little bit more work this year, assuming he quits that reading habit. Receivers should not be reading. That's
what do you mean?
They focus on the game.
Well, whatever he needs to get his mind right, Ryan.
Right. Soft, a little soft, but
hey. Have you signed up with MyBookie? What are you waiting for? Head over to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code SGPN. Get you 100% match up to $1,000. Great point in here by Easy in the chat saying you have to factor in Hurts has literally had a different OC every year at his career. So maybe we even really haven't seen what Hurts is fully capable. Great point there. He did have a Steichen, I think, in back-to-back years there, but for the most part, it's been a new OC every year. And I would also say his MVP season or near MVP season where he got second to Patrick Mahomes, who did have a better season, and they ended up losing the Super Bowl. I don't think they had an elite defense that year. They had a good pass rush. And of course they've even, this year they went from, this was the first year Jalen Hurts was calling all the offensive line projections whatever they're the play calling with the offensive line protections at the line of scrimmage, because previously Jason Kelsey did that. Hall of Famer retired. They brought in Cam Jurgens, who first year starting, and they didn't miss a beat offensively with Jalen Hurts calling out all the projections. He's a dog. If you want to be a dog, head over to mybookie.ag. 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply on that rollover bonus. Ryan, I see we got Derrick Henry on the graphic. Man,
we should update this. What are the 3 players we should put on for this year?
Oh, okay. Because we got Justin Jefferson, we got Jalen Hurts, we got Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think we should refresh it for this year.
Keep Hurts on Super Bowl MVP. I think that's fair. He earned.
Put him in the big spot.
Yeah, where
Jake,
Derrick
if
Henry,
you're listening, Jalen Hurts goes in the big spot. Then who else we putting on there?
Who are some guys that are going to be super? I mean, I think this is like a
Lad McConkey.
Lad McConkey's fun. I do think this is for Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. I feel like it's those 3 guys. It's a shit or get off the pot year for all 3 of them, because all 3 have been like, yay, they're the next Mahomes. They're the next one. They're the next one. Meanwhile, Burrow's the only one who's figured out how to beat him. And that was only one time. And then he ended up losing the Super Bowl. If you guys, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Burrow, if you guys truly are him, you got to get past Patrick Mahomes. So I think one of those 3 guys has to step up. Who will it be? And someone jokingly saying Dak Prescott. We don't. Come on. This is we want people to sign up over at mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. The Rhythm is going to bet you. That's right. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Get you a 7-day free trial today, only on Rhythm with those power trends. Rhythm is great. It's a great tool, great to have in your toolkit there. It's very fun sliding around, doing the models. We're going to have a really fun thing to reveal using Rhythm for the NFL season. Going to keep that one under my hat for right now, but you're not going to want to miss out. And of course, great time as always to sign up now, start playing around with Rhythm, start building some models. You're going to enjoy it. 7-day free trial today, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
You want me to go next, or
Easy suggesting Shamar Stewart and Tugboat Tootin on the graphic? That would be.
Oh, we got to make sure. Let's not jinx guys spots.
Jamar Stewart has to sign his contract first.
Yeah. Maybe we go with a more notable. Do we go TJ Watt? That could be fun.
He's on.
Is he gonna play?
I think he will play, but he's also a guy that's like kind of a, I wouldn't say make or break a year, but this is a huge year for TJ Watt. I think, right? It's kind of getting up there. Never really done
too,
it.
Right? And Aaron Rodgers.
Oh God.
That last year.
We were talking about like fun topics to hit on with for the VSiN show, and you were mentioning maybe we have some fun with this Aaron Rodgers stuff. I'm just Aaron Rodgers out. Like
is this Fast and the Furious 10? We've gotten to the point where I don't need to see it right away.
No, that like, I would much rather see what Fast and Furious is up to than Aaron Rodgers.
So this is like
but the Aaron Rodgers. And now it's, I got married. He's not going to reveal who the marriage is.
Have you heard the latest rumors?
These long that he married AI. That's a Manti Te'o situation.
That is what I want to know. Did Aaron Rodgers get too into the internet?
If there's one guy who's going to marry AI, or maybe it's a publicity stunt and he reveals he's married to the game.
That would be pretty strong. If his wife turns out to be the game, that would be pretty strong.
All right, Ryan.
Wait, so I leapfrogged you.
Yeah,
I did.
You did 7 and 8. I do have Brian Thomas Jr.
Ooh.
Just a couple spots down from you at number 8. Yeah, it's just tough for me to get excited about the Jaguars offense. I get maybe I should. Maybe Liam Cohen coming in there is all they need.
It's gonna. You know what it is? This is what I'm telling. It's Tampa North. It's the Bucks North.
Okay. Yeah.
And think about this. Trevor Lawrence, right? To this point in his career, he's been one thing.
Yeah.
But what if he shows up and now he's like the badass with throw a biker jacket on.
I believe
and now that blonde hair flowing behind a Harley doesn't look so soft.
I believed in that competitive ability to turn around and number spike with Baker. It's just harder for me to get there with Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence has more of the actual measurables you want.
Brian, has Trevor Lawrence ever woken up feeling dangerous?
Great question. I don't know. We didn't know that about Baker until we knew it about Baker.
True.
Although we kind of knew it right away. We knew it from the beginning. But I mean, I think it's fair to think maybe he. Yeah, I'm much more likely to be bullish on the Jags this year.
Yeah, and maybe I'm getting there. This is why it's nice to.
They're also in a division where there's going to be points.
Yeah. No, in the AFC South,
domes, good weather.
Yeah, Florida. Yeah, no, you don't have to worry about weather late. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about Brian Thomas Jr. And maybe some of me putting him at 8 is the response to how much I'm hearing his hype in the fantasy community.
No,
that always like is a red
danger.
You know how chicks have these things where they say ick.
Can you explain that to me?
I think it's just.
Is that a chick's way of saying like "fuck off"? You're gross.
It's like a gross thing. Like
why not just
biting your toenails is an ick.
Oh, what? Who does that?
I don't know.
What a strange example.
Okay, what's your example of a gross habit?
I don't know.
Or something that would create
ick.
Yeah.
So if you see something that's gross, it gives you the ick.
Yeah.
Am I using it right?
Yeah.
All right. We can move on.
Do you want the Urban Dictionary definition?
I mean, this just sounds like another thing that females are creating to hold the male species down. That's what I'm hearing right now. But I'd love to know what the Urban Dictionary wants to tell me about this one.
In urban slang, the ick refers to a sudden and intense feeling of disgust or repulsion towards someone, often a romantic interest stemming from a specific action or characteristic. So it's like an instant turnoff. So I think some of it could be gross. It could be like living with your mom. I would imagine might be an ick. Don't ask me what women find attractive about
you don't
men.
Like saving money? You don't like a little coin in the bank, honey? All right. What are we on? 9?
I'm seeing someone in the chat saying, why have you guys not said Ricky Pearsall yet? Well, he's interesting because I don't think I'm drafting Ricky Pearsall in best ball,
year, right?
But you want to talk about dog mentality. Maybe I will put him on my honorable mention list. Well, that's the thing. You can draft him so late. I don't even feel like we need to put him in the top 10, but he is worth talking about.
What are we, donkeys? We're not going to draft above ADP.
It's Dominic the donkey.
All right, Kramer, where are we at? I gave out my 8. You're up to 8. Give us your 9. Who's your 9?
Nico Collins' numbers were really good last year.
Yep. That
team might regress a little bit. I don't necessarily trust that they're going to have a dominant running game. I think the idea that they're playing from behind and Nico Collins can marry some of that dominant efficiency with volume. Yes, please. Had to put him in there. Yes, throw a little shade at the Texans, but also it just, I mean, you look at the start of the season, 17.7, 27.5, 12.6, 33.1, 15.8, misses some time, comes back, first game back only 9.4, but then 20.2, 19.9, 17.7. He's the one guy I think that, I mean, he's going end of the second round. No, he's going end of the first round. To me, he's the guy that you're probably drafting him right around his ceiling, but those numbers are like Puka-esque. It's kind of the same thing where it's like, man, if this hits. Now, I don't like the Texans as much, but I think the idea of him scoring a lot of points on a mediocre offense that's playing from behind a lot. Yeah. Did you have Nico in your top 10?
No.
Oh,
and I guess it wasn't out of spite. It was just, not super exciting about the Texans offense. Although I think I will be a little higher on the Texans as a team than you are, Ryan. So maybe I should be higher on the Texans a little bit. But
part of this is I think the defense is gonna I think they're going to be playing in a decent amount of games where the offense has to win it for them and they fall short.
Yeah, I don't know. I like their defense. So they
have a pass rush.
No,
Derek Stingley.
Yeah. I think they're going to be a little underrated here.
Wondering about the coaching staff.
I liked them having that wake up call sophomore slump and then coming back here
firing everyone. It's a little scary.
Somewhat, yeah, but also I think they're in the division that they can pull it off. For me, this is like an honorable mention. You got to put this guy in your top 10. 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons every single year, 4 to 5 seasons, double-digit touchdowns. Even last year, missing games.
Yeah.
The hamstring, whatever, ripping off the bone doesn't bother Mike Evans. Mike Evans. Come on, Ryan. As old guys, we got to tip the cap to Mike Evans. So this is just, I want to honor and talk about Mike Evans more than anything. But yeah, give me Mike Evans at number 9.
What really stood out to me when I was looking at this stuff is how often Mike Evans, how good Chris Godwin was in some of those games last year. I figured you would.
I'm as much as I like Chris Godwin as a player, former Penn State guy, man, that injury, and I know they paid him, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical that he's going to hit the ground running.
This exercise made me much higher on Ibuka.
Okay,
because it feels like there is potentially some opportunities. And as far as Mike Evans, what you like about Mike Evans is he still had a 23. He had a number of 20 plus, 25 plus, 35 plus point games. Still, he still has that high ceiling. The problem is he did have some dud games, and so you're going to have to deal with that. One was injury related. I did not have him in my top 10, Sean.
Okay.
I feel like I might have done it wrong, but
dude, come on, it's Mike Evans.
Yeah, but I wanted to make a statement with mine. There are a lot of like good receivers too. I mean, well, I kind of want to put, Drake London 10.
Ooh, okay.
Their defense is going to be dog shit. He was getting more volume than I remembered. And while I think Michael Penix might have struggles,
little slip there, Ryan.
While I think Michael Penix might have some struggles, they play in a dome, and I think this is Nico Collins and Drake London feel like the same guy to me this year, where I could see them having to have a bit more volume than typical because their offense is playing from behind.
Ryan, Mike Stacks in the YouTube chat checking in and saying, "What's up, guys? Love you, bros. We doing the 100K Survivor, 33K each. Let's live."
I am.
We are open to all grandissimo inquiries.
I am running in the virtual Kentucky Derby Saturday, June 28th. So potentially could have about 4,500 inbound. That's
okay. That's a good start.
4.5% of the way there.
My number 10, again, legacy play here. Tyreek Hill. I mean, I get why people want to be down on him, but he still
This
is
is the old guy portion of your
rankings. He still is incredibly fast. And once Quinn Ewers takes over, he's going to just be launching bombs to Tyreek Hill.
The greatest thing.
It was a horrible year for him, and he still had 81 catches, 6 touchdowns. He got Noah Lyles to back down from a race. You still don't think that guy has speed? Did you see him on the 100-meter?
Sean, I have.
He scared off Noah Lyles.
I have bets. I don't. It was not a. It was a 60. I believe it was a 60.
Okay,
they were going to run. I have offensive player of the year bets on Tyreek Hill at 35 to 1.
Jalen Waddle
at 500 to 1.
Yeah, it's
Devin Achan at, I believe it's 80 to 1. This is going to be the funniest shit when the Dolphins, like when his offense is just completely broken and it just doesn't work anymore. I don't have the Quinn Ewers one yet. That feels like a paper ticket at the Circa.
They are a variance. And then you look at some of their, like, December, not ideal at the Jets, December 7th. They do play the listen to this. At the Jets, December 7th, at the Steelers, December 15th, Bengals at home, Bucks at home. But then, so that would probably be, and then at Patriots, but you wouldn't be in the fantasy season that last week. So yeah, the little cold weather late's always scary with the Dolphins, but Tyreek Hill is just too much. He's too fast not to include in this list.
All right. Just missed for me.
Yeah.
So, this, I think I'm putting DK Metcalf in here because of my offensive player of the year angle. I certainly think there's opportunity here. And number 2, you know what? We're going to change it. Mike Evans. I have a couple guys to note.
Okay.
Who guys further down in the draft who popped up on my my little metric exercise that just made me go and so I will be drafting much more Ibuka based on what I saw from the Godwin numbers. Rashid Shaheed, he showed up incredibly well.
Really?
He missed a lot of the season, but if you remove the injury stuff, dude, let's see, where is he? To start the season last year, 16.3, 20.9, then missed the game, 15.7, 18.6, and then the season basically was washed from there. If he does that the entire year, we're talking about a 2nd round receiver for Rashid Shaheed. Could be the number 1. I mean, who knows what Chris Olave's up to. Rashid Shaheed, you can get real late. He's shockingly high, highly ranked in the metric. Another one, not surprising, but we have talked about him, Rashee Rice, if he plays.
Yeah, I still think Xavier Worthy is the guy to take there. Now maybe he might, just because of where you can draft him at. And
I would even throw in like Hollywood Browns in that bunch too.
My just missed the list. Amon-Ra at 11, and then Drake London at 12.
Yeah.
Now for me, I think Jameson Williams goes up a little bit. I think it's a good Sam Laporta year, and maybe Amon-Ra falls off a little bit, and that's how I get him to 11. And then Drake London. Yeah, I mean, you had a bunch of good points. I am high on Michael Penix. I don't know what Raheem Morris and the Falcons defense is doing. They're going to be in a division that would lend itself to a bunch of shootouts. So
yeah, I think also it's easy to forget he was a top 10 receiver, and he finished the season last year with a 40-point game.
Drake London.
Yep.
Yeah. No, he certainly has it, and that was obviously with Michael Penix there, and was in a good shape.
Yeah, I mean there was only a handful of 40-point games in the season last year, and fun fact. I'm gonna tell you the last thing we'll talk about. 40-point receivers last year. Puka Nacua had one. Juwan Jennings had one.
Yeah,
which is a great little nugget. T Higgins had one. Jerry Jeudy had one.
Chase had to have had one.
Devontae Adams had one. Drake London had one last week of the season, and Jamar Chase had 3.
Yeah, that's insane.
One of them was a 55-point effort.
Yeah, that was the 3 touchdown game.
I mean,
Maniac.
I guess that's the biggest case against him. Is he really going to have a 55 and a 45-point game this year?
Ryan, do you remember when the Falcons traded for or signed in free agency Kirk Cousins and then also draft Michael Penix? And they're like, we know what we're doing.
You like that?
Everyone goes, no, you don't know what you're doing. And they played Michael Penix. He was fine. They should have.
No, you don't understand. We're gonna have Michael Penix in 2 years to play. That's best case scenario.
That was their plan. God,
yeah, we've seen enough. No preseason time for you.
Yeah,
what are you trying to stone him on the practice squad?
Play him on preseason.
That
franchise waivers.
That franchise is
very insane. All right, so real quick, recapping what we did. My top 10 fantasy football receivers for 2025: Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Lad McConkey, AJ Brown, Malik Nabors, JSN, Brian Thomas Jr., Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill. Honorable mentions: Amon-Ra St. Brown and Drake London. Kramer.
Number 1, Malik Nabors, Justin Jefferson, Chase, Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brian Thomas, Lad McConkey, AJ Brown, Nico Collins, Drake London, DK Metcalf, and Mike Evans.
All right, that'll do it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, appreciate everyone smashing that subscribe button, telling a buddy, spreading the word. That
football
is
season's back.
The Sports Gambling Podcast. Yeah, football season is here. We got one more fantasy football positional episode to break down Sunday Night Live. And then we switched to our college football conference previews, which we've taped with Colby, getting you ready over the next couple weeks with a bunch of those episodes. While Kramer and I are off the grid, we do have our VSiN show tonight if you're watching live Friday night, and then a special Thursday night, July 3rd edition over on VSiN. Both those shows 11 o'clock East, and the July 3rd one live from Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'll be there all July 4th.
Yeah, I'll be there for a little bit of July 4th, July 2nd if you're in the Vegas area. And again, get out there, sign up for the football contest. Circa Millions, 21 million up for grabs. Footballcontest.com, promo code SGP to $50 off your proxy fees. And of course, as always,
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
Nice work, Sean.
Kramer, let it ride.